one more quick case study for you. Another client of ours, Allen Brothers, who they specialize in steaks and prepared foods. Highly recommend them for your holiday gift buying needs, allenbrothers.com. Allen Brothers, basically what we found with them was that they had category pages and product pages with terrific photography and great images and a lot of information about their products. Pricing was easy to see. A lot of things were done right. But what we found was that it was hard to sort of sort through all the different products. They all look so good. And everything, that they're offering sounds so terrific. Where do I begin? How do I find something that's right for me? And so what we did was we tested out the best sellers within the category. This was not something that Allen Brothers had done in the past. And so we identified what their best sellers were. We asked our client, said, hey, can you tell us what are the top selling products and what are you selling the most of, so that we can highlight those. We had seen it done on some other retailer sites, and we just had a feeling that that might help with conversions. So we started with this layout that you can see here, and then we moved into something more like this, where we have identified the best sellers. We've put those up at the top, and we've given them a nice sort of highlighted view and put that banner there. So a lot of people will just go ahead and click on the bestseller and find that that's a good option for them. They don't feel like they have to scroll through many, many products to sort of get an understanding of what it was that they were looking for. This was a good example of where we had seen a lot of people going to the category page, going to a product page, going back to the category page, going back to the home page, a lot of jumping around. And so we thought it might be a little bit easier for people to understand if we could highlight some of those best-selling products. Again, a very, very simple test and something that we used heat maps for. We used our form analytics. We looked at the different patterns that people were taking when they got to the shopping cart process. And we tested this out, and it led to a conversion rate increase of 20%, which when you're selling expensive steaks and products is very impactful for your business overall. So we're really, really happy about that. So I just want to recap real quick. 2 case studies, a lot of information about conversion rate optimization. What's sort of the take-home value here? Conversion rate optimization offers a lot of opportunity for testing and evaluation. And again, one of our favorite things about this is it helps make a case for why you want to make changes to the website, why you think that it's important to do perhaps a redesign or to adjust landing pages or to look at some of these different pieces of the website process in more detail. So the methods of testing and evaluation include the aesthetics or the design analysis, looking at the conversion funnel and analyzing that, incoming traffic analysis, in-depth user testing, user surveys, A/B testing and multivariate testing, which we frequently use on landing pages, which we talked about, site reviews by industry experts. All of these different things can lead us to testing specific variables within the website, and those can include things like your headlines, your website content, your landing pages, of course, the layout of the web pages and the architecture and sort of navigation piece within the website, the fields within your form, so a deep dive within forms is important, looking at things like colors and fonts, buttons, shapes, sizes, and colors all matter, and then really understanding the different number of touch points throughout the sales or conversion process and understanding how to really impact those different steps within the process by making some of these changes. So just to kind of wrap everything up here, I think Google Analytics is a terrific place to start, and it will give you a lot of insight into how you can improve that conversion rate. If you're serious about it and you want to really take it to the next level, there's a lot more that can be done. There are a lot of additional tools. There are a lot of experts and people who, without them, it's very hard to sometimes get your head around all these different kind of moving pieces. But that's definitely a great place to start, and it's always going to be important to look at those funnels and to look at those different sales processes that are happening within the website so that you can understand how to positively impact them with future iterations of the website, future design, future changes and enhancements, what to put your resources into. Should I hire more copywriters? Should I do more video? Should I post more photos? what are my users really looking for and how is that going to drive them down the path I'm looking for. So that's basically conversion rate optimization. Does anyone have any questions at all about that? A lot of information being shared. I'm sure some of you have questions. Yes, Scott?
How long is an average, what would be the average time to in testing?
Great question. So the question was how much time do you really need for testing? And the answer is it does vary depending on how involved the conversion process is. So for your labels now, for instance, very sort of easy and simple test to run. We understood that people were using the instant quote form, so that wasn't the issue, but how do we make it better? So I think we probably looked at about a month of data to sort of make some of those adjustments. Other clients that may be a little bit more involved, you might want a little bit more time, so maybe 3 months of data on the high end. But I think that if you're working with people who are experts in the area, they have a good understanding of what trends they're seeing within these different reports, and then can pretty quickly and easily come up with some recommendations. Once you have those recommendations in, you definitely want to let that run for a bit and sort of watch, how that impacts your overall conversion rate, and compare that to a similar time frame to get a good feel for whether or not it was a successful test. Anyone else? I know you guys have questions. Yes, in the back.
Are there benchmarks on conversion rate based on the type of traffic that's coming in?
Yeah, there are some benchmarks. It really depends, again, on what that conversion is. So if it's a sale versus a lead, it's going to be a different conversion rate. And if it's sales, it also depends a lot on whether it's a book or CD that's $6 to $20 versus a prime cut of steak, which is maybe $200. But we like to look for conversion rates improving over time. So a good benchmark is really to look at what you've seen over the past year, 6 months, 3 months, 5 years, depending on how much data you have, and then look at how to continue to improve that. Did you have a question?
Yeah, how do you produce these heat maps?
We work with a third party, just similar to Google Analytics, but it's not Google, and they deliver these types of reports. One thing that's important about this type of reporting is it's not just the report, it's also the process of really understanding it, internalizing it, utilizing it with other data to make some assumptions, and I think that's a big part of what we do. Yes?
When you're doing your A/B testing or your user surveys or the testing part, do you let the users know that they're in a test, or do you do an A version and a B version and just see what happens?
That's a great question. So the question was, when you're doing a test, do you let the users know that they're involved in a test? And the answer is, it depends on what the test is. So with A/B testing, you don't. You just set up, okay, here's how the form exists today. Here's our B version of that, which, we're going to do 2 columns or whatever the change is. And you run them side by side, and the tools that we utilize will automatically optimize for the one that's more successful. So with an A/B test, the people coming to the website, the users don't know. Now with user surveys, we will typically do things where either we'll bring a focus group in, which you don't actually have to bring them in. I say that because I'm used to the traditional sense of focus groups, but with online testing, you just, you have tools that you utilize. There are people who have signed up to be part of these groups. You send them exactly the process you want them to go through, and you ask the questions that you want them to answer, and that all takes place, outside of our world. They do their thing, they send it back to us, we analyze that data and bring it back to our clients. So in that case, folks do know that they're part of a test group. And then there are also the exit surveys or entrance surveys, which a lot of us have seen lately when you go to a website and it says, how are we doing? Fill out this quick survey. So of course, in that instance, they know as well that they're being, part of a survey group. Anyone else? Yes? Well, I think that it's, these tools are utilized by putting some code on the website to be able to track what users are doing when they're on the website, and that's one of the different things that you can track. So it's part of their process that they're utilizing, and you can then run reports with different metrics that you're interested in viewing. Correct. Yeah, similar to analytics, how code is put on the website for analytics tracking purposes. Yeah. Yes?
Do you do different kinds of CRO for touch, for like tablets and touch devices than you would for web?
You know, that's a very interesting area that we're starting to get a little bit more involved in. So the question was, do you do different testing, CRO testing for tablets and mobile devices? You know, that's a whole other area that I think is going to be very, very important. We're getting a lot more into looking at traffic patterns with mobile compared to typical websites, because mobile is taking over such a huge portion of traffic. And I think it's important to optimize for the mobile experience, which is definitely different than the website experience. So we'll definitely be looking at that a lot more in the future. Anyone else? All right, we're right on time, I think. Oh, maybe we're a couple minutes over. Whoops. For me, though, not too bad. Okay, well, thank you so much. Please feel free, if you have additional questions about CRO, to grab me or any of the Marcel Media folks.